Each and every one of you functions as an anchor for the non-physical. You first of all channel your own soul while exploring your own unique journey within the physical dream reality. You represent the pure unconditional love that you are all made of. You each represent a myriad of cosmic energies, subtly woven throughout the energy fields that make up your currently focused existence as a human being. These gentle influences that connect every single one of you to the stars, so to speak, may be obvious in one moment, yet appear completely absent in the next. But they are there, fluidly adjusting themselves to your human exploration, supporting where needed, excitedly buzzing whenever a new reconnection with your greater self is being made. Now, the more you allow your true natural selves to shine through in your thoughts, words, and deeds, the more visible and tangible these kind of coexisting cross-connections may become to you, both within yourselves as well as in others, whilst simultaneously you will find yourself feeling increasingly connected to your own planet of Earth, your Gaia. It has been said that the deeper the roots are allowed to grow, the higher the crown of the tree can reach into the heavens, and this is so. You cannot do the one and ignore the other. You love yourselves so much, you would never fully let yourselves buy into the illusion that a real sense of completion could possibly be born from an attitude of exclusion. It lies within your nature to kiss the grounds and love the lands, to revel in your connection to one another, to celebrate the reaching up and simultaneous deepening of the relationship with where you are at and whom you are with, human and non-human alike. You share your planet with many other species, many which you are not even aware of exist, but who all in one way or another weave the web of life that sustains you. You all know this, if not consciously, then surely from deep within yourselves. Now is the time to remember your natural and your intrinsic connection to one another. There is an open invitation from your soul to stand up and meet yourselves anew and yet for the very first time. Let your hearts guide you and be in awe, for you belong, you always have. You are worthy, and without you, all that is would not be complete.
Ever wonder if there's intelligent life elsewhere in the universe? Well, I have. I've been wondering since I was a kid. My name is Reuben Langdon, and on March 29th, 2007, in the middle of the day, I saw a number of strange objects in the sky. Coincidentally, I was working on the film Avatar at the time, playing an alien. And ever since then, I've been on a quest to find out if aliens really do exist, and if so, are they here, with us? If beings of higher intelligence are here, what is their purpose? Why don't they make themselves more known? Why the secrecy? I've asked these questions to many experts, yet each seems to have a different theory. So I thought to myself, why not ask the aliens directly? So that's what I set out to do. Well, sort of.
And if you want, just for a moment, you can put your hands on your heart and feel your heartbeat. Anchor there. For this is where heaven touches earth. This is where you create heaven on earth. This is your creation center. This is the door through which we speak with you, through which you can meet us here and now. For we are here, dear friend. And we thank you for your warm invitation.
Thank you. So I had a question in regard to, I know we've been talking about Yael energy, and here's our kitty friend at your feet.
Very welcome, very synchronistic, as
Yes.
you know.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about your history, your background, the planet you come from? Is the planet named Yael, or is the civilization named Yael?
The latter,
The civilization.
yes.
And does everyone in your civilization communicate telepathically, or is there an actual...
Mainly, yes.
Mainly, okay.
Though there is some use of language, mainly in a poetic sense, to shape some thoughts.
I see. But the primarily form of communication is telepathy.
Yes,
It's understood that humanity is moving from third to fourth density. What density could we associate the Yael civilization with?
fourth density, fifth dimensional.
Fifth dimensional, fourth density. So basically where humanity is headed.
Yes,
Okay. Is your civilization also moving into fifth density?
slowly but surely, yes.
Okay. So it's our understanding that the Zeta beings, that the Yael is a hybridization of human and Zetas.
Yes, but we do mix.
Yes. Is there other energies? I mean, of course, the human DNA is so vast, so obviously you have all of those relations, but was there more than just human, more than just Zeta DNA?
Since you contain in your here and now time
Yes.
so many kinds of DNA, so many strands of interstellar DNA,
Yes.
some of us are a composition of, you could say, human DNA that has a leaning towards more Pleiadian, for instance, or leaning towards more Sirian. So this is what you can see as differences between us. Some of us lean more to the one or the other as well. A little bit more obvious. There's more playing around.
Playing around in the sense that there's...
You would see the Pleiadian shimmer through, in a sense, or the
Okay.
Sirian,
I see.
or any other.
What happened to our Zeta parents, your Zeta parents, in the sense? I know we're one half of that, but is there still communication with the Zeta beings?
That future timeline also splits up in multiple possibilities.
Yes. Could we go into that? Because I've heard different. I've heard one version where the Zetas have died off,
Yes,
and I've heard one version where the Zetas have evolved. They were able to learn from the human interaction experience, and their emotional bodies were reactivated
yes.
during the hybridization programs, and they are thriving in the galaxy, the association. How does that work? There's two
There's two examples.
examples, and I'm sure there's probably more.
Yes,
Okay.
versions in between where they tried to reactivate their emotional bodies but failed. And any possibility that you can think of in between. Many storylines.
The version of the Yael that I'm interacting right now, the Arjun energy, do you guys have a interaction with any of the Zeta timelines?
I personally do have some of these relations.
Okay.
I'm curious, why did the Shakani come in and say, hey, this is the story, this is, you have human Zeta DNA? Why did not the Shakani, or did the Zeta themselves, why did they not?
They have.
They did come, okay. What about future versions of the human race? Do you interact with those?
We can tune in to that, and we sometimes do.
I see.
Do you have a specific question about that?
So have you had visitations from future humans? Or should I structure it this way? Are you future humans?
You could say both are happening, in a sense.
I see.
As I consider myself to be a future version, in a sense, of the channel sitting in front of you, we are also visiting humanity in the future. What you could call, quote unquote, after your shift.
Right.
Although there's no end in that sense to it. This is a continuous process.
And continuous evolution.
But yes, we connect with that new Earth.
Right.
We can see more or less where you're heading.
And there's obviously infinite possibilities of the amount of time it takes for us to get there, collectively, individually. I can sort of see it myself. This new Earth, new form.
Where you will find that what you create for yourself individually is the collective part is a part of what you create for yourself individually. You will create the collective that fits your personal evolution. With that, to go with that, you see?
Yes.
So there's a lot more layers to it.
Absolutely. And I think we're just now coming to understand the terms and these understandings. These conversations are helping tremendously for myself and others watching to really grasp,
to feel into it deeper,
and to grasp what reality truly is. And it's so vast,
and beyond the grasping there will be a surrender, a falling into it.
Exactly.
And no longer a need for grasping, really.
A need to figure it out. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like to figure out everything though.
It is a perfect step to come to the surrender.
Sure.
And you can, of course, keep on playing with this.
Yeah.
There is so much fun in the discovery of everything that is.
Absolutely. That's why I'm doing this. It's so much fun.
And we think so too.
Yeah. So it's been said that humanity is the sixth hybrid race.
The hybrid children.
So the hybrid children are they the sixth race?
The precursors of that.
Precursors. So
they're bridging that. They're kickstarting that for you.
So once they start interacting with us in the physical sense here on Earth, through our interactions with them, through our reproduction with, creating, offspring, that will create a new DNA strand?
In a sense, it is a little bit more loose than that. You have already also begun becoming this sixth hybrid race.
Right.
Yet they are holding such a high frequency. They will be the highest frequency, dense form of that, coming to your Earth. But understand that when they do set foot on your planet, some of you will be of the same frequency, otherwise you couldn't allow that in.
We wouldn't be able to interact.
Exactly, it will match with some of you already here right now.
Okay.
So you are moving into it very organically. Some of your family lines have been interacting, having interstellar interaction for some while, being, in a sense, guided into that direction.
Sure.
Already in the womb, you could say. And this was your co-creation. You've all been a part of this. Those who have chosen to go into that new wave.
Right. Which I have gotten through my downloads that I'm part of this.
You are.
Lineage. Or guide, or I would use the word manipulation, but that's sort of, I guess it has a negative context. But
We would like choice.
yeah, choice. And
For you knew what you were signing up for, in
Sure.
a sense. And then still it was an open agreement.
right. So my lineage, my mother, I feel I had gotten in my past that my mother had some engineering done to her DNA to allow me to come through.
Funny way to put it. Yes, correct.
Okay. Interesting. And I'm sure it goes further beyond that, but
And your grandmother.
grandmother, okay.
And before.
And before. And
Very subtle.
yeah, that's what the image I got during a meditation was. It was just like minute percentages, because if it was too,
It would not have
it wouldn't-
succeeded in
right.
that time frame.
it couldn't hold.
Exactly.
The frequency wouldn't
Exactly.
hold it, so it had to be done very gently.
Correct.
And then maybe this generation,
A lot more.
but the next generation, it's almost exponential.
Think of your Fibonacci spiral and you've got it.
I see. Okay. So, would that be the correct mathematical formula then, if I were to
Yes.
calculate the exact percentages?
Yes.
Okay. As
For on your Earth planet, this is the guiding mathematical equation that you develop by.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of the hybrids, to go a little bit more in a little more detail, the 6 hybrid race. It said that the Yael are sort of the keepers of this race. Why aren't the Zetas keeping this race? Why did they leave them in the Yael's caretaking?
For they had, in a sense, handed the stick to us.
Yes. Why?
We are of a frequency from birth. That is what you have all signed up to experience more of. We are, in that sense, the perfect guides.
I see.
The most logical link, closest to where you are heading in your next step. Do you see?
I see. So, where the Zetas themselves are quite far from that frequency spectrum.
Yes, and they were focusing more on the completion of the 5 hybrid races, as you have come to understand, were resulting from their project.
Do all of the children are all of them under the caretaking of the Yael, or are there some?
Most are.
Most. Okay. So I was going to say some.
Understand that these children travel too. They go out and stay over, have sleepovers with friends, you could say.
Oh, okay.
From Sasani and other races, Pleiadian as well.
Oh, okay.
Sirius, they travel around.
Yeah.
They have seen a lot of the universe by
Wow.
the time they come and visit you.
And that's why they're the best bridges to our cosmic families.
Correct.
I see, because not only are they made of the same DNA as us, but they've also been educated quite well.
Yes, and they can teach you quite a bit.
For humans, I guess we'll get there, but the traditional perspective from a parent is that the parents teach the kids, not the kids teaching the parents. That's the old paradigm, but we're breaking that, I suppose.
That is shifting already.
Yeah.
Your kids right now are very strong messengers.
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. And all we have to do is listen.
Yes.
Yesterday, during the meditation, we connected to 2 of my hybrid children. Are they around?
Having fun in the labyrinths.
Yeah, I look over to the labyrinth to my left as a.
There's your clover boy.
Excellent, excellent. This area in Sedona has been said to be one of the first areas for these hybrid children to come through. Is it? Maybe could you explain the reasoning for that?
Yes. The circumstances are optimal. The veil is so thin here.
Right.
It is an easy playing ground because of the amount of crystals in the ground. There is a big focusing here, a big prism. A lot of energies can travel through the vortices that are present here on this place on your planet. There are more such places. It is very easy to tune in with the children and for the children to travel to you in a more conscious manner for you to perceive. Yes, this is correct.
An interdimensional highway.
Yes,
Bridget, who lives right over there, is doing amazing work with the children.
she is.
And I've sort of been doing work in this with the hybrid children and with my own meditations. And I've got that the labyrinth is the energy behind labyrinths and communities who build labyrinths in their communities, in their yards, actually create some sort of a portal to allow the children to come through. Can you say anything about this?
Many of the labyrinths that are old and have been in use by many spiritual paths, you could say, on your planet, are based on sacred principles. They contain certain ingredients that universally reflect a pathway to the heart, the center being the heart, traveling through either the chakra system or in another way through yourself into your own core, into your own center. It is so much that frequency that the children reach you on that, yes, they happily make use of such doorways that you playfully create on your planet Earth.
Before I got the labyrinth creates movement going in opposite directions. So
as you seek within, you discover outside. You expand as you move within.
So all of these energies that go into the labyrinth, that's a resonant frequency for the children?
It's easy for them to move through that and to you. It can be seen as such a doorway.
Right.
They do love to play with labyrinths.
I see.
And they like cooking with you. They like
cooking.
Gardening experiment.
Oh, okay.
If you are preparing your food with love,
Yes.
they love to be there with you. You can think of them as you consume one of your, for instance, organic apples and share with them your taste sensation, in a sense, by inviting them in.
Okay.
They'll get a hint of that flavor. It's fun for them. You can play with them in so many ways. While you are doing the dishes, this is hilarious to them. There are so many things that you can call them in with, situations that you call every day that are brand new to them and so much fun.
Interesting. So I take it there's not a whole lot of dishwashing in the Yael realities.
Correct.
Okay.
There's playing with bubbles, though.
Playing with bubbles?
Yes.
Like soap bubbles in art with soap substance, or?
Bubbles of a more energetic kind.
Oh, okay.
Yet similar in the idea of how you perceive them.
In the way you see the time now, how long before we see our hybrid children interacting with us on a physical sense?
Again, this is completely individual. Some of you on your planet have already physically interacted with their hybrid children.
Okay, that's...
Sometimes even touched them.
Exactly, okay.
For a moment. Yet this was still slightly in an overlap reality.
Okay.
That was brought down to your planet, you could say.
Okay.
So you could walk into it, or they could walk into it within their own premises or living room, or where they were at that moment, in nature more often.
Right. And the more we step into the higher frequencies, these playful energies, these then these personal interactions will increase. And
As you play with your own inner child,
yes,
you open the doors for them.
right. It's a
For
choice.
some people, this may still seem rather awkward, even though it's already happening at the horizon of their creation of reality.
Right.
Other ones will feel drawn in by it, attracted by it, like a fly to honey.
So it's said that the Yael, the hybrid children, the Yael, are also so closely related to us that they might be, high probability, one of the first contact races for humanity.
Highest probability, yes,
Highest. And
currently.
we had the Phoenix Lights event,
Yes.
which thank you for that event.
Did you enjoy the show?
I was not there in Phoenix, but I
The
really
recording of it.
the recording and the testimonies and all of the people who I've interacted with who got to experience
The
it.
show is still going on.
And the show is still going on.
More drawings are planned in the sky, yes.
More drawings in the sky.
Yes, for we are drawing with our lights.
So the Phoenix Lights was an intentional event to
Yes.
to wake up humanity a little bit, or just to dangle a carrot? How would you describe the intention behind this event?
There is no, in that sense, target.
Mm-hmm.
We were just saying hi,
I see.
and as the timing was perfect for that, in that moment, the circumstances were perfect for that, in that moment. Many of you had signed up for such an experience,
I see.
consciously or subconsciously. For us, it was interesting to see how such a event would be processed by you.
Mm-hmm. And
A feeling into the state.
right. And many people speculate now, researchers in my field, in the ufology field, that if another Phoenix Light type event would occur, that it would be a much different situation, because now we have the internet, everyone has high definition cameras on their cell phones in their pockets.
It would be less likely to be suppressed and hidden for so long.
Correct, yeah. It would almost be impossible for it to be hidden and suppressed.
Yet still everybody would be free to make up their own mind about it.
For your ships, are they built? Are they built out of materials that we would know here on Earth, or is it specific to materials?
We consider it natural, yet it is very strong yet light, energetic material. We create it energetically.
So it's not something you would go and mine a planet to harvest materials, in the sense that when we build our houses, we go dig up the ground and get different materials in that sense.
This is focused into being.
It's focused into being. Okay, so you literally can
Create a ship, or co-create a ship together.
through your imagination.
Yes, by bundling the powers, overlapping them, and thus densifying them, materializing our intent.
In a way, a sword maker would take a hammer and put it in the fire and constantly fold the sword over and over. We call it sword making, by folding it. You just simply do this with intention?
Yes, nice analogy.
You fold the intention
Yes,
on top.
and thus it becomes
Physicalized.
manifest.
Okay. Do you do the same with the building structures on your planet, or is that more of a natural process?
That is closer to you, as you are used to playing with nature.
Okay. And allowing and harmonizing with nature to do this.
Yes, although intent is always a part of everything we do.
Absolutely. Do you still work with your planet to build these ships?
So your question is, do we build the ships on the planet?
Yes.
We can focus them in the cosmos if we would want that to.
Interesting.
Depends on where we gather to do that.
Okay, and it's just through collective intention,
Yes.
through the number of beings. With your civilization, do you interact with other civilizations to build your ships?
No.
Okay, so we can say it's pure Yael technology, which would be Yael intention.
Yes, but we do hitch a ride now and then with each other.
Okay,
Do you understand?
sure. Like taking a ride in a
Pleiadian ship, for
Palladian ship,
instance. Or the other way around, or join the Sasani. We can visit each other and take a ride along, if it is in everybody's interest.
I see. Do you share technologies in that sense with other civilizations?
When we
Taking a ride.
do share a ship, we are of one mind, as in where the ship is going. Yet there is one or a small group in charge of the specific ship,
I see.
being the ones closest to it, energetically steering it. Although we are all of one mind when it comes to the location where we are going,
I see.
that we are aiming for.
I see.
We are of one heart.
But you, at the state of your evolution, you don't necessarily need the ships?
Yes, you could say that. We still use the ships for some reasons, and sometimes we do not need them because we can just tune in.
And I've heard you say on your planet, there's not a whole lot of development as far as like city structures, how we have them.
Little. There are some, what we would call play areas, where there is more structures being built or have been created there.
And is that out of choice to let the planet express itself with little outside influence?
Through nature, in the natural way.
In the natural way.
Yeah, there is a lot of art and artistic, playful expression going on amongst us in our civilization.
On the planet?
Yes.
In these areas of populated areas, it's more for art purposes?
And to explore and play with nature, in a sense. Much like the area that you are in right now.
Okay. Example.
Referring to the circles on the ground.
Oh, I see. Creating
art with what is natural.
With natural, yes. Okay.
And that can be in shapes like this. It can be in ways of planting the seeds, the flowers, the trees, up onto how we create some of the buildings, you would call it.
More of a natural based.
Yes, and we play with aesthetics. We like to have plants growing from walls and roofs. So the building is alive.
Okay. Yes, okay.
Your house can bloom. Quite literally.
We know through Einstein's theory of relativity that every star and every planet revolving around that star sort of has its own relative time and space.
Yes.
The way we perceive time would not be the same way you perceive time.
Correct.
I'm sure through your evolution, you perceive time even on a grander scale. Let's say if you were still in the third density, was there ever a time when the Yael civilization was in third density?
No.
No, okay. So from your birth, you birthed into fourth density consciousness.
Yes.
Okay.
But we are familiar with, as much as we can be familiar with your perception of time through parallel versions of ourselves, such as the channel before you. Otherwise, it would be hard for us to relate to you at all, you see.
Right. So this new perception of time, and this is a new perception that humanity is adapting through its exploration into science and physics, metaphysics, into interactions like these.
And through your heart.
And through our
From
heart.
time to timing.
Time to timing, exactly. Then our constructs, constructs of the universe and how we perceive it shift and change.
Yes. We'll loosen up greatly.
And with that loosening allows us to connect more in this manner.
Yes. And to plug into more levels of existence, you could say.
And that's And that's where we enter into higher dimensional spaces?
Yes, many of them will become a lot closer to you, easier to reach for, in a sense, to tap into, tune into.
Going into the fifth dimension,
Yes.
for example, where you reside, fourth density, fifth dimension.
Yes.
Are there humans on our planet that can sort of step in and out of the fifth dimension?
Yes.
Do you have to be fourth density consciousness to experience fifth dimension? Can you still be third density and travel into the fifth dimension?
When you are fourth density consciousness, you are experiencing fifth dimensional reality.
I see.
When you are third density,
Yes.
fourth dimensional, you have the possibility to move in and out of that.
I see.
You can experience fifth dimension for a moment
I see.
or several hours and even feel like these hours have lost.
Right. The Zeta beings that did the hybridization programs, were they, when they started, were they third density or were they already fourth density?
When they started?
When they started the hybridization programs, mixing the DNA, their DNA with human DNA, were they already in a fourth density consciousness, or were they a similar third density that we were in?
They were there. It had a different color.
When you say there, you mean fourth density?
Yes.
Okay.
Yet they didn't steer it through the heart.
Right.
So, freely translated, we would say it had a different color.
I see.
It was very differently perceived by them. You are now agreeing to walk into it through the heart.
Sure.
Another path is a path of resistance. They tried the path of resistance. Yet their frequency was rising. Thus urging them to look at themselves and rearrange their thinking. They had cornered themselves.
I see.
The path that they had chosen.
The flavor.
For the heart, energy is necessary to move on that higher and higher frequency. At some point, you will be pointed to that. It was pointed out to them that this wasn't going anywhere. And within that realization, they understood they had to take certain steps, change their ways.
And if we
Yes.
want to interact with those flavors, then, for example, if we wanted to go into the draconian flavor, then we may need to activate our mental bodies a little bit more.
Yes.
If we want to go into the Palladian, the Yael flavor, then we go into our hearts.
Still, these are generalizations.
Generalizations.
Yes.
I see.
But yes, in general.
In general.
Although draconian energy has also got the flavor that you call the hard one
Right.
in it, in its own spectrum. And
Sure.
Pleiadian has been traveling through quite some resisting eras in their own timelines.
Right. Do Yael have much interaction with draconians, Dracos, or other reptilian
Some,
beings? Okay. How do they perceive them? Is it just
the ones that we interact with are very playful
okay?
and walking along the same lines, you might say, more or less. So we can play together, explore together.
Very nice.
The other ones we observe from a distance, now and then. We are not necessarily looking for the contrast in that sense.
Right.
We know it's there, and that is perfect.
By interacting with humans, because there's a large portion of humanity that is influenced in sort of along that draconian flavor.
You have a pinch of that in your systems, yes.
Yes, we do. Just a pinch. Okay. But we've been choosing to explore that for quite several millennia now, to explore that pinch.
It has added greatly to your journey and sped up a lot of explorations.
I see. I do a lot of work with sacred plant medicines, and they seem to be very good teachers of
They can be for some people.
for some people. Yes, I guess used with that intention and
Yes.
understanding to really.
And even if it is part of your path that you laid out for yourself, because there are those that have agreed, you could say, before birth to definitely not use these teachers.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though they have the right intention,
Sure.
they may try to work with it and it may just simply not work out for them.
Sure.
Because they have chosen on another level, another route of learning for themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just one path of the many paths.
Yes.
Right. Is there that kind of work on your planet? Is there an actual external substance like a mushroom or a cactus, or we have ayahuasca that would that your planetary civilization could work with that consciousness and consume it in that way, or is that just unique to the Earth?
That is not unique to the Earth.
Okay.
We play around with certain things that are natural to our planet. There is still journeying in that sense, playing around.
Right.
Yet it comes a lot more subtle, you might say.
I see.
For most of you, this jump is still rather big.
The jump with the medicines, you mean?
The portal that you move through appears rather big.
When we consume these
Yes.
medicines, yes.
To us, it feels a little closer. Still making a trip.
But not extreme, yeah. For some people, the journey can be quite extreme.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is only because you are taking your first steps into this. And
Right.
some of you are very brave people taking very big steps. But you never take steps bigger than you can handle.
Exactly. I've come to that understanding.
To give you an example, we can even play with what you could call one petal of a flower. Hold it, tune into it, and travel on that.
Oh, wow.
It is a lot more subtle.
Right. And as we become more in tune on this planet, then we could probably do the same with
Some of you already can and do.
With a petal of a flower, a rock, a tree.
Yes. Yes, this very direct conversation with your earth crystal.
Crystals as well, yes.
Is possible and is already being done by some of you.
For these plant medicines, I perceive them as entities in themselves, consciousness, spirits. We have many names in our native cultures. Pachamama, the Mother Earth Spirit, and I'm specifically talking about ayahuasca in this sense. Does that spirit, do you guys interact with those kinds of spirits?
We travel with them.
With them.
We see it a little bit like, say, one plant medicine, having a group oversoul in a sense.
Okay.
That works together with your Gaia. That is being translated through that particular plant medicine. It is that frequency that we can very easily tap into and travel along with you when you are on that frequency. You move to a bit of a
neutral zone
where we can meet.
I see.
Exactly.
Right. And you guys don't necessarily need those plants to get to that neutral zone.
We don't need plants to get to that zone, no.
Right. And we don't either.
You don't, but for some right now it is the easiest way.
Sure.
Or they have created it to seem that way for themselves.
Correct. Okay. And outside of our plant neutral zones, are there other energetic neutral zones that we can play with? Dream time, perhaps?
Creates such a zone on multiple levels, yes.
Okay. And our dreams...
meditation does.
Meditation, okay. So
music does. Following your heart does.
So there's many ways to create this platform
Yes.
based on the individual
It
journey.
is within you. There are many ways to tap into it.
I see. And I'm assuming the invitation is always on the other side. You guys are always, if we put it out there, if we go to the neutral zone and we sort of wave our flag and say, hey, I'm here, come meet me.
You will always be heard or perceived.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on where you are, how you ask it,
Mm-hmm.
and your own contracts, so to speak.
I see.
Whether we can respond and or whether you will hear us. Usually there is a response.
Right. So if you...
Even understand that even not responding can be a response.
Can you explain that?
In some cases, not responding as to the questioner, it seems as if there is no response. Sometimes that serves a goal. For the question, often in those cases, is too insisting.
Oh, I see.
There is something depending on it.
Right.
We wouldn't
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
we wouldn't feed that idea.
The expectation
Exactly.
for an answer
Yes.
creates a
Dependency.
dependency and a...
That we do not wish to confirm.
Right.
We do not wish to build that illusion with
Right.
them in that moment.
Sure.
So we step back and send love. So we are responding energetically.
Yes.
Yet it is up to them to feel through that what they perceive to be a silence
Right.
and understand what the actual meaning of that is.
Right. And not attach it to abandonment or other
Exactly.
other types of negative emotions that...
Rejection.
Rejection, yeah.
For that is not happening ever.
Right.
It is their own invitation for themselves to look at these feelings, if these come up, due to such a silence, to play with, to overcome. They are giving themselves that opportunity, which is a beautiful gift, and we would never want to stand in the way of that.
Yeah, many star seeds, have many labels for this new energy that's coming onto this planet. Star seeds, indigos, crystalline children, rainbow children. There's a whole slew of names, and many of these people feel abandoned by their star families because of their lack of connectivity to some of the harsh energies on this planet.
Yes.
And basically what we're saying now is it's almost a lesson for integration.
Yes, it is a big one.
For them, and to
Look
for their
at yourself.
for their contract prior to coming here.
Trust that you are connected.
Yeah.
You do not need to seek. You are connected.
Right. And if you're not getting, if you feel like no one's picking up on the other line, so to say,
Try another line.
try another line.
And by that we mean look at where you have not been doing what you have wanted to be doing for so long.
Okay.
We are on that line.
I see. So if it, almost the path of least resistance in a way. If it doesn't work one way, then just go
Yes.
the other way
Yes.
and stop beating a dead horse.
And yes.
Okay. Going back to our sacred plant medicines, is that a symbiotic?
You are intimately related. The plants have their own curiosity towards you. And you can play together
And
in more ways than most of humanity is aware of up until now, as you have created this here and now on this version of your planet.
even genetically and DNA wise.
You can play with each other. The DNA is the transmitter, the receiver on both ends. So when you play, that is also,
harmonizing.
yes.
I see. Very cool.
This is why a plant can assist you restore your DNA. And
It-
with your love, you can quite literally guide the DNA of the plant and even create new species.
Oh, I see. So a lot of our sacred plant medicines not just the ones used for shamanistic journeys, but also in healing bodies, in healing the body from cancers and other ailments. This is all a dance, a symbiotic.
Yes, everything is
play.
a dance. That is you creating that tool, allowing that reflection to help you harmonize with yourself. Help the plant, help you.
Right.
And it works both directions, always.
We sometimes I think we forget about the other side, just taking from the plants, but we have to give back.
You are remembering
The cycle.
other half of the
Always a
infinity
give and a
symbol.
take.
Yes.
The sixth hybrid race, humanity, have we interacted with ourselves have they come back into our timeline?
Many of you are. And more speaking to future versions of yourselves. From a future Earth, from the new Earth.
Are you familiar with the Rendlesham Forest incident in Bentwaters in England in the 1980s? I think in 1980.
Not familiar, it's through this channel.
Okay.
Yet you could keep on describing and we can tune in through you.
There was several servicemen who had interacted with a craft, very small.
What type of craft? Craft, do you have images?
It was triangular in shape, had a round, sort of spherical shape in the middle, and it seemed almost too small for any one person or being to actually be inside of it, so maybe it was a drone of sorts. Hypnotic regressions were done later to reveal binary code messages. The binary code has been translated, and what seems to show several sacred spots on the planet as far as
Landing.
Yes, landing spots, yes.
Correct.
For in the future. The airmen themselves felt it wasn't extraterrestrial per se, but they always felt it was us from the future, humanity, human from the future.
There is both energies present, hybrid and human. So yes, it is from a time frame where they were interacting closely, working together, and traveling together.
And this might help with the information. So that was a secret nuclear base. People felt that the interaction were sort of warning and maybe checking on those weapons of mass destruction.
Yes, they came to show their faces for a reason.
Yeah.
Because this basis was familiar with tests being done before.
I see.
And interfered with on purpose.
Yes. Okay.
In this case, they were considering certain steps in that direction of certain tests. And the ship was sent to interact with some of them, to show them, we also see you.
I see. They're not alone, yes. And
that
this has
they
happened.
love themselves
Yes.
too much to play with matches like that.
Yes. And this is sort of the story since the 1940s, since the kids started playing with matches.
Yes.
With the first atomic test in White Sands, New Mexico.
Yes. Let's say that there is a timeline in which you could merrily go along that way of playing with matches.
Right.
And we all got to see where that will lead you.
I see.
So we travel back a little to offer you, to co-create with you, new possibility for the future, as you understand it to be.
And that's what we're playing out right now.
Yes, you have crossed the threshold. You have already decided that you would not destroy your Earth with that specific tool in that sense. You have already agreed upon that. on a higher level as the humanity that is present on this version of planet right here, right now.
And this was the 2012 marking point?
Before, even.
Oh, before. Okay. Harmonic convergence in 1987, would that be
Closer, yes.
one of those marker points? I see.
Closer to that year.
I see.
Although, again, we can't pinpoint exactly, for this is organic.
Sure.
All numbers in that sense. Also, your 2012 day are more or less symbolic. Some people
Right.
were already beyond that in their own evolution, you might
Sure.
say.
Sure. Yeah, it's more of a general guideline for
Yes.
the collective,
Yes,
and every individual is going to vary
yes.
from that point.
For that tipping of the scales moment that you understand as
Yes.
your 2012
Mhm.
December was created by all of those people that had already tipped that point, you see.
Mm.
They had become such a group
Right.
that they could tip the scale for the rest of the planet, in a sense. Yet they had, in their experience of reality, already manifested that for themselves.
Mhm.
They were already experiencing slightly more positive than negative energies for
Right.
themselves. They helped tip the scale for the majority, so you could all tap into that easily, quicker, faster.
Right. And the more individuals who create that perception, then create that
Nailed
reality.
it.
Then go into that timeline where those nasty things don't exist.
Where you can celebrate together.
Correct.
That all those nasty things have brought you where you are today.
Right.
Because you transformed it, you integrated it.
Right.
You stopped basically calling them nasty.
Right. And for those nasty events that keep occurring in other people's lives, in a global sense, then it's just a reflection for those individuals, for those people to make a shift in their lives.
They are still on their own route of exploration, still playing with these themes.
Right.
And as long as you can perceive that, bits and pieces of you, although there is only one whole,
Right.
are still causing that reflection for you to perceive. So when you see that, it tells you it is still somewhat active in you. And
Right.
as long as you perceive them playing that game, you
I
can
am also playing
heal
the game.
that within you,
Okay.
transform it for both of you, whether they choose to accept that gift or not is up to them. You see.
I see. And I guess, so that's the construct here on Earth. And I guess I'm trying to use that same micro as the macro. If you guys are perceiving Earth in that way, in that sense, that I perceive the other side of the world, and that's in their thing, is it a similar type perspective where you see Earth? And again, I hate to use these words. Maybe we can find better words. This needing to heal, or
We observe it full of trust,
trust. Okay.
knowing that every being on that version of Earth that we look at
Yes.
has its own individual path and free choice to work with what they have manifested for themselves to work with in whatever way they wish to in any given moment. Starting by their outlook on life, their inner response to circumstances.
Right.
For as long as they perceive them as being outside of themselves, this is the first step to bringing them in,
Sure.
to change their response to it. This free choice is always available for all of you, no matter how dire, how challenging circumstances may look. When we look at a planet full of people with that free choice, we see incredible magic unfolding Because every single breath you take, every move you make, every person that has this constant freedom is a fairy tale on its own.
Yes.
Influencing the rest of the entire planet. You are creating as many planets as there are people on your planet. We are just intuitively flowing with every version of that resonates with us enough so we can communicate with you as we are now. Never is there our choice to feel sorrow. Never is there our choice to feel torn between what we see and what we know. There is no conflict there. There is only the full embracing of what we observe.
Okay.
Seeing the magic that is always there unfolding, even for those that choose a very narrow path. There is an artistic thing, you could say, to that as well.
Right. Right. The way we would perceive to fix the problem is really to see that there is no problem.
To fix.
To fix.
Exactly.
And then by having that outlook, by embracing that energy, then
freeing that energy within your system,
right,
by letting go of the idea of
right,
a problem that needs fixing, you will actually allow in a lot of energy from your own higher self, from your source, you could say, that you can use to benefit yourself and others. By letting that flow, because wherever you create for yourself the idea of an obstacle or a problem, you are blocking that energy
right,
from flowing to you.
Right.
And if you do allow it to flow in, you can benefit the whole more.
Right. Yes, I understand that now. So really and I guess I'm trying to get into the Yael headspace a little bit.
Heart space.
There, thank you for the correction. Then it's just seeing everything as perfect, seeing everything as happening in the divine way that it does, and then just simply choosing what's in your highest excitement.
Yes.
And the more you do that, the more that is what you manifest.
Yes. Unless you choose to feel something that is a bit less exciting for you, and then be okay with that as well. See the perfection in that as well.
And then you're choosing your less than highest excitement as your highest excitement.
In a sense, exactly. And you are transforming it to a higher frequency.
Right.
So you haven't fallen off your path.
Right.
There is no way to fall off it. Right. Even the idea of following your highest excitement brings a lot of pressure for people.
Sure.
We have discovered along the way.
Yeah, so I think some people get caught up in the wording
highest.
Highest, yes.
There are your levels again.
Yeah, yeah.
So we like to put it as to be as much as you can possibly be of you in any given moment. And if you are you and being a little sad, embracing that you are a little sad in that moment helps you move out of it.
Right. Expressing it, feeling it, as opposed to stuffing it and trying to
avoid it. There is a beauty in embracing that emotion and bringing it into motion and exploring it as you like to explore and play with your mind, like you said before, and figure out, where is this emotion emerging from? What am I believing to be true that makes me feel this way right here, right now? Feel it, be it, and look at it with open eyes. Don't squinch.
What would you say is sort of the main philosophy of the Yael, the main teaching that maybe the Yael have for humanity?
Be here now.
Be here now.
When you are fully here and now, you are looking with your eyes open, you're perceiving the fullness of yourself in that moment. So if there is anything within your system that is slightly out of whack, you would notice. You would feel it. You could tune in with your body and feel it either through your physical body speaking to you or your emotional body speaking with you, as everything is always continuously speaking to you.
And our environment as well.
Your environment, a reflection would be speaking to you. And when you are fully here and now, you can pick up these messages and play with them and grow from them.
And I would say expand in our awareness.
Yes.
Our awareness of what is.
Of all that is, it is all you, and
Right.
you can play with all of it.
So the more we're centered in being here now, we can feel our surroundings. We can be in tune with all that there is.
Less likely for you to miss a message from your own higher self to yourself. As you are constantly speaking to yourself. And so are many of your guides.
I see. I see.
You bring yourself home by being here now.
And for the Yael, your civilization in the daily practice is to be here now.
And we see what comes our way, and we pick what resonates most with us in every given moment.
Beautiful.
We think so. Lots of fun.
Well, I look forward to more interactions with the Yael and our hybrid children. Thank you guys. And
So do we, with all of you.
And in our lights in the sky, can't wait. And at the same time, I'm very excited and thankful for this interaction. So
We thank you so much from all of our hearts. We have been delighted to have this interaction with you here now. And we will meet again.
absolutely. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.